Circle of Hope Network, doing life and being church together.
Well, good morning. You came back. We're shocked. Must be nothing else to do here in camp. No, we're delighted to have you back. And this morning we got to see our good friends, Pastor Imola and June, his wife. Did you know, by the way, June has a birthday today? We need to sing happy birthday to June. Let's see, you join me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear June. Happy birthday to you. Yes, very nice. She just turned 29 today, as a matter of fact. We're just happy that
19, she said.
Oh, 19,
oh,
well.
You messed it up.
It's just the weather doesn't reflect that, that's all. Sometime before we came, the manager of the Adventist Book Center asked if we could, if he wanted us to, he asked me to suggest some books that we could suggest to you, and so we did, and so I just went by the ABC, and they are carrying 3 books that we wrote. Some of you might have seen these books. This is a family devotional. It's called Family Faith, published by the Pacific Press last year, and apparently they said we want to do it for a second year, so they're doing it this year again. It's 365 readings for the family. I see that the price is, well, I don't know, it says $23.77, but then it's got a sticker that says $12.39.
$12.39.
Man, I tell you, they said we can't get rid of these things, we have to discount them. I guess that's what it is. So it's $12.39 Canadian dollars or $25 US dollars if you buy them from me.
We also know that this book that we wrote is also available in an electronic version, if any of you like to read it on your Kindles or anything.
Yes, Kindle.
Family Faith.
And a couple of years ago, 4 years ago actually, we also had this devotional printed. It's called Help, I'm a Parent, and it's all on parenting. We didn't write the entire thing. Actually, we asked a number of people to contribute, and then we edited it, so it's not all from our pen, but it is also a devotional, and so again, they're available at the ABC. This one is $11.39. Actually, I'll sell both of this for $50 US dollars. I just want to see if you're awake or if you want to part with your money that quickly.
He was never good in math.
No.
We have really been doing a big initiative for parents. So this is a series we wrote. It's called Help, I'm a Parent. This particular one is for parents that have children birth to 7. Over there at the ABC, they also have another version for parents with children 8 to 12, and we've just released a third one for parents of teenagers. Now, this is a whole set. It has a book that we wrote in here, but it also has 10 DVD segments in here that my husband and I filmed, one to go with each chapter. And also, as a side note, if you watch Hope Channel, my husband and I have a whole series of parenting that's currently airing on Hope Channel every week. It's called Help, I'm a Parent. So if any of you have Hope Channel, even if you don't get Hope Channel in your homes, you can watch free online Hope Channel. But if you're interested in watching our parenting television programs, they're there.
And you're right. I never was good at math. I don't like math. But 4 out of 3 people don't like math. Anyways.
I can't take him anywhere.
You are receiving or should have received today's handout. So if you don't have it, raise your hand. And Dr. Ripley here will make sure to get, well, there's one over here. Make sure, there's a couple over here. Right here too.
Yeah, keep your hand
Dr.
up
Ripley.
if you don't have a handout for today's presentation.
And so make sure you have your handout and and a pen or pencil ready, and that way you can follow along what we have. So yesterday we began to talk about 12 ingredients of successful families, or as we also call it, 12 ingredients of disciple-making families. And we started with the first two ingredients. Number one, have realistic expectations about marriage. And number two, prepare for marriage. Today we go to ingredient number three, which is to understand the different needs of men and women. And we want to begin with this text from Romans chapter 12 and verse 10, which says, outdo one another in showing honor. I want to share with you a very simple, basic principle. Willard Harley is a Christian psychologist in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he says that we all have an emotional bank. And in that emotional bank, every person that we know has an account. My wife opened her account in my bank the day that we met back in 1978. Hey, let me tell you how it happened, because it's really a story for the centuries. So I was a student at Columbia Union College in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and Pam came to be a student there at Columbia Union College. She graduated from Shenandoah Valley Academy, and after graduation, she came to Columbia Union College and got a job working at the bookstore. And the first day that she worked at the bookstore, I actually walked in there because I needed something, and I saw her. I knew pretty much all the students. When you have a student body of only about 850 people, you pretty much know everybody. So when I saw her, I recognized that she was new, and I immediately went to her to rescue her, to protect her from all those guys who were probably going to try to go after her.
And you did.
And I did. And so I walked up to her and I said, "You're new here, aren't you?" And she said, "Yes, it's my first day." Well, I had to think quickly about a pickup line, and I said to her, "Would you like me to show you around Washington, D.C.?" And just like that, she fell madly in love with me.
No, you know what? That's his story.
Well, that's history. His story. History.
Yeah. Well, history sometimes is flawed, honey.
Oh.
Right?
It's the interpretation of it.
That's right. Actually, we told you yesterday that I'm from the southern part of the United States, in the mountains of Virginia. And I still remember the day that I packed up and left to go to college. And my southern mama said to me, "Pam, you need to marry a good southern boy." She didn't say anything about my education. She just wanted me to marry a southern boy.
Good southern boy.
A good southern boy. So he is correct with his part of the story that I met him immediately. It was honestly within the first hour of arriving on campus, I met him and he asked me out. And so that night I called my mother after she had gotten back home from dropping me off, and I said, "Mama, you won't believe it. I already have a date." Wow. Well, you know what she wanted to know? Only one question. Is he from the South? Well, I told you yesterday that my husband is from Colombia, South America. So I said to Mama, "Yeah, Mama, way down south."
Yeah, Colombia. When you said Colombia, she thought, "Oh, Columbia, South Carolina."
Yes, she
No,
did.
A little farther south, Mama. Right.
So whenever I introduce him, I say, "This is my southern boy."
My good southern boy.
This is my good southern boy.
So Willard Hartley says that we have an emotional bank. So that day they would see, she opened an account in my emotional bank. I opened an account in her emotional bank. When we worked and lived in Minnesota, the Ripleys opened an account in our bank because we met. That's how you open an account. When you meet people, you open an account in their bank. And every time we do something nice for the other person, it's like making a deposit in our account. And every time we do something that is not nice or that hurts them, it's like making a withdrawal. So you can imagine after 37 years of marriage and 3 years of dating, Pam's account has been very big, has been building, and is very big. I met a number of you yesterday, which means you open an account, but the balance is about that little because we just barely met. What's interesting is that in marriage, anyways, we need to make sure that we have our account in our spouse's bank continually being supplied with good actions. If we don't, our marriage is going to be bankrupt. It works the same with parents. In fact, Kate Kuzma says kind of a similar idea. She says that we have a love cup. And our children have a love cup, and we have to continually fill that love cup with love. So it's the same principle. Now, Willard Harley there in the Twin Cities also says after some 40-plus years of counseling couples, he noticed that all of us have, in general terms, 10 emotional needs. But what's interesting is that in general terms, men have 5 emotional needs and women have 5 emotional needs, but they're not the same. So if I try to meet my wife's emotional needs thinking that they're the same as mine, I'm missing the point. The key is for me to find out what her emotional needs are, and then I can meet them and vice versa. But in general terms, again, Harley says that men have 5 emotional needs and women have 5 emotional needs. So we're going to talk about those emotional needs this morning during the next few minutes. Just make a note when you complete the whole list, make a note of which are your 5 most important emotional needs, and then talk to your spouse about them to see how you can each meet each other's needs.
And our verse that's on the screen is actually very important from Romans. Outdo one another in showing honor. Sometimes in marriage, we say things like, well, what do I get out of it? You know, you're not meeting my needs. What are you doing for me? Well, this verse reminds us, I need to try to outdo him. It's not what I can get out of it, but it's what I can give. So we're going to start off by talking to you men, because we're actually going to talk about the needs of women. So wives, if you're here, don't let your husband fall asleep right now. He needs to just nudge him. You listen to that. You pay attention. So the number one need for most women, a woman needs her husband's affection. Scripture tells husbands, love your wives. That's what this is all about. But how do you show love to your wife, men? How do you show your wife that she's special? How do you show her when it's not her birthday, it's not her anniversary, it's not Christmas, it's just a regular day of the week? What are you going to do to let your wife know that she's special to you and that you love her?
And it doesn't necessarily mean buying things and spending a lot of money.
That's right.
What you have to find out, man, is what your wife considers a romantic action. For some women, it's just simply holding them by the hand as they walk around the block, or putting your arm around her as you're talking with people or as you're standing around waiting for somebody. For some ladies, receiving flowers is a very romantic action. In fact, we have known of some ladies that will tell us, anytime my husband brings me flowers, it just makes me feel loved. It makes me feel wonderful. In fact, we heard of a lady who loved to receive flowers from her husband, and in fact, her husband, knowing that, brought her flowers every single day. Every day he brought flowers to his wife, and she was just about to burst with joy receiving flowers from her husband every day. Until the day she found out that what he was doing was going by the cemetery and picking them off the graves to bring to his wife. What I'm saying to you is, if your wife likes flowers, buy them. Don't go by the cemetery and take them to her. But this is the key. If you're going to give flowers to your wife, don't do it only for her birthday and Mother's Day and your anniversary or Valentine's. Buy her flowers for no reason at all other than you were thinking about her, and you'll see her reaction. Now, if you never give flowers to your wife and you bring her flowers when it's not her anniversary or or her birthday or her Mother's Day or whatever, she's going to say, now what did she do? Because she's not used to that. But if you do it on a regular basis, you'll see she'll love it. Now, some women don't like flowers. For instance, my wife is one that doesn't like flowers, mainly because she's practical. As much as we travel, she says they're going to die. I give her something that she likes better than flowers. Can you guess what that might be? Chocolates.
I heard it.
There you go. Chocolates. I never go wrong when I get her chocolate.
One time we were talking about this, and there was an older couple, and they were probably about 90 years old. And they came up to us, and they said, we want to tell you what we do. The woman said, I want to tell you what my husband does. She says, there's a little corner grocery store near where we live. And once in a while, we walk to the corner grocery store, and my husband will go inside, and he will buy one twin popsicle. Do you know what that is? You don't see them a lot anymore. They used to make them. But a twin popsicle is a popsicle that has two sticks. And she says he'll go in this little store that still carries them, and he'll buy one. And he'll bring it out of the store. And together we each hold one of the sticks, and we break it, and we share it. And I thought, that's really what we're talking about. Was that expensive? Absolutely not. It wasn't a big thing, but it's those small things, men. If you think being romantic or to show your wife you love her has to do with the dollar sign, you're wrong. It has nothing to do with spending a lot of money, buying a dozen roses, going to a fancy restaurant. No, it's the little things you do every day.
In fact, in the Reader's Digest, not too long ago, we read a story that really moved me anyways when I read it. The story is about, this lady's telling a story. She and her daughter went to a McDonald's, and she says, as we were standing in line at the McDonald's, we noticed in front of us was an older couple. She says, you can tell by the way they were dressed that they were people of very little means. And we also noticed that when they ordered one burger, one pack of fries, and one drink. And when they sat at the table, they cut the burger in half, divided the fries in half, and the lady began to eat. And she says, my daughter and I felt horrible to think that this couple could not even afford their own burger. So we went over to their table. We apologized for intruding into their little meal. And I said to the man, we noticed that you ordered one burger and one pack of fries and one drink. My daughter and I would be honored if we could buy you another pack of fries, another burger, and another drink. And the man says, oh, no, that's okay, thank you. We always share everything. But then the lady said, that is so sweet. But can I ask you a question? How come your wife is eating and you're not? And the man said, I'm waiting for my wife to finish so I can borrow her dentures. That's sharing. I mean, you understand the point of the story is sharing. That's what it's about.
Honey, that's just nasty.
Well, they're not going to have lunch anyway,
It is
so don't worry about it.
almost time for lunch.
It's the actions, the loving actions that make a woman feel loved. That's being romantic.
You have to watch him, I'm telling you. Don't let him pull at your heartstrings. You were going, oh, until he delivered the punchline.
Oh, well, what can I say?
I don't know.
Number
honey.
2, most important emotional need for women is honesty and openness.
This one is so important, especially in today's world. A woman needs her husband to be honest with her. I need to be able to trust what he says. In fact, trust is the very foundation of our relationship, isn't it? You know, it used to be with my grandparents and with my great-grandparents. If my grandfather was going to be dishonest or have an inappropriate relationship, he'd have to leave home to do it. Today, in 2018, inappropriate relationships are happening every day, and you don't have to leave home to do it anymore. You know how they're happening? Through this right here. Through technology, through computers, through your phones, through iPads, through inappropriate chat rooms that husbands can be sitting in the same living room as their wives and having inappropriate conversations through the computer right next to each other without her knowing it. Or he can be looking at pornographic images on his iPhone while still in his own home. So when we talk about dishonesty, we talk about the need for being honest and for being open, we have to include technology in this one. It's so important that we ask ourselves, men, are you looking at any image that you would not want your wife to see? Are you sending any email or text message that you would not want your spouse to know about? Are you friends with anyone on Facebook you wouldn't want them to find out about? So let's make sure we really do an audit and an inventory of all of the relationships that we're having online, because that is one of the biggest tools that my husband and I are finding as we talk to people throughout the world even, that Satan is using to ruin our homes today. Technology is one of the greatest blessings in that we're able to spread the gospel throughout the world. We're able to enter places we've never entered before. But it's also the number one tool that Satan is using to infiltrate our homes with inappropriate relationships and inappropriate images. So let's make sure that we're careful of that.
Number 3 emotional need for women is financial stability. When we go to places, women will tell us, I don't need to have the biggest mansion, the newest car, all the technology, all the toys, a big bank account. I would be happy to just simply have a small house, a car that might be a few years old, but at least we know it's ours. No one is going to come take it from us. No one is going to tell us we have to leave. If that is true, I don't know if it's the case here with you ladies, but if it's true, then man, you don't have to kill yourself to have the biggest house and the snowmobile and the jet ski and the boat and all those toys, but never have time for your family. In fact, I would venture to say that your family, especially your children, would rather have time with you than toys and no time with you. When I was working on my master's degree, one of my professors used to say, pay attention to this. It's not in your notes, so if you want to write it, you can. She would say, positive attention is better than negative attention, but negative attention is better than no attention at all. Let me say it again. Positive attention is better than negative attention, but negative attention is better than no attention at all. And sometimes when children misbehave, it's not that they're being rebellious. Even when they dye their hair pink or spike it up or get tattoos and all those things, I'm not sure that they're being rebellious as much as it may be that they're not receiving enough positive attention. Because we are spending time with technology, we're spending time at work, we're spending time with friends, and we in some ways are ignoring our own family, especially our kids. Spend quality time with your family. It's much more important and much more valuable than things, material things. Those things could go any moment. A fire could destroy it. A tornado could take it away. Those things will go away. But time with your family is something that they will take with them for the rest of their life. So financial stability means provide for the needs of your family, but without having to take so much time away from them that you never see them.
The next one is very important. A woman needs a man's commitment to the family. In fact, for me personally, as I look at the whole list of 5 we're going to put up, I would say this would be number 1 for me. As a mom, I need to know that he's committed to our children. We're also the directors for men's ministries in the North American division, as well as for family ministries. And I can tell you one of the number 1 thing that we see for men, and as we talk to groups of men, is we try to help them understand the importance of being a father and the role that they can have, the impact that they can make in their child's life. We need that commitment. We told you yesterday that my background is as an educator, and I've done a lot of research with children regarding their academic success. What makes them successful academically? If you're a parent, all of you would say, yes, I want my child to be successful academically. I want them to do their best. I want them to achieve. The number one thing that you can do, and I'm talking to especially if you're a parent here today and have young children, the number one thing you can do to promote academic excellence in your children is to read to them every day. That's it. That's not hard, folks. But the research that I found and the research that I did found something startling to me. And this was a new revelation. You see, we measured the difference when a mother read to their child every day versus when a father read to their child every day. There was a huge difference. When dad read to the child every day, their academic achievement went off the charts. There was something about the male voice reading to a child every day. As a researcher, one of the things that I like to do the most, when I find out an exciting bit of research, I ask myself, how does this fit in the Bible? How does this revelation fit with what God tells us? And for me, this was so exciting because I realized all of a sudden another reason maybe that God has called you men to be the priests of your family, to be the spiritual leaders of their home. What would happen if men all over the North American division started reading from God's word to their children every day? Or reading from the Bible story books, those wonderful Bible story books that they have over in your ABC. What would happen if men started reading to their child every day? And when they get old enough to read on their own, read with them every day. It doesn't change even when they get older. You see, you would be fulfilling God's command as the spiritual leader of your home. You would be having daily worship with them every day. And at the same time, you would be promoting academic excellence later on in life. That's a win-win, isn't it? So men that are here today, if you don't hear anything else we say all week, I want to call you this week to recommit yourselves this week to be the spiritual leaders and the priests of your family.
Billy Graham, the Baptist evangelist that passed away a few weeks back, had a special relationship with his wife, Ruth. Before she passed away, Ruth passed away several years ago, she was asked if she and Billy had ever considered divorce. And she said, my husband and I have never considered divorce. Murder, yes. Well, what we say is, well, we hope you don't consider murder, but what we recommend you do is that you take the word divorce completely out of your dictionary. Whenever you mention it, whenever it enters your mind, you begin to give up on working on your relationship. It's better to just say, we're not going to get a divorce. We're going to do everything in our power to make this relationship work. Whether we have to go to counseling, whether we have to make changes in our lifestyle, whatever it takes, we're going to stay together until death do us part. That type of commitment will take you through the rest of your relationship. When you begin to wonder, would it be better if we separate and go our separate ways, get a divorce? Immediately you begin to give up on your relationship and you don't work as hard to keep it intact.
Number 5, usually if we ask men to guess what their wife needs, what her needs are, they'll say this one, number 1. They'll say, well, I know she likes to talk, so talk's got to be up there somewhere. Well, here we find it. A woman needs conversation. We need our men to talk to us. Women are much better at expressing feelings, at using feeling words. For men, not so much. Sometimes we have to pull it out of them, right, ladies? We have to drag it out of them because it doesn't come as easy as it does for us.
Well, and the reason is because women connect at the emotional level through conversation. You don't just simply want information, but you connect bits and pieces of that information into a story, and that's the emotional level that you reach. For us men, we don't need all those details. We actually rather have the basic information. Ladies, I'm going to tell you something. Please don't be offended. I'm just simply making this information available to you. Theologically speaking, you know what the definition of eternity is? Two women saying goodbye. I mean, you say goodbye and then you say, oh, by the way, how's your husband? And then you begin to tell the story, and 15 minutes later said, I'm going to be late. By the way, tell mom hello. Mom, how is your mom doing? And the story begins all over again. It just goes on. We don't do that. We men say goodbye and we mean goodbye. Let's get out of here. We got things to do. One of the things that researchers have found is that men tend to use about 10,000 words a day, and women tend to use about twice that many, about 20,000 words a day.
Okay, wait a minute. Stop right there. Remember what I just told you? For every bit of research, you can't just say the research says this. You have to say, okay, why does the research say this? Why would the research say that women talk twice amount as men? Why would research say that I use double the amount of words that he does? It's easy. It was so easy when I found this research. I told my husband, I said, honey, that's because I have to tell you everything 2 times. See? Ladies agree. They all agree. It's easy. 1 times 2 equals 2.
Say that again.
See? Proof. Just proved it.
Well, what's interesting, though, is that we men, because we only have about 10,000 words that we use a day, we use them through the day, and when we get home, we have already used our 10,000 words, and my wife says, well, how was your day? And I said, fine. What else you want me to say? I've already used all my words.
Details are important.
With ladies, it's different. If they don't use all 10,000 or 20,000 words today, the rest go into a bank and they use them tomorrow.
Honey, then that just proves our point. You may as well talk to us, because if not, I may have 30,000 or 40,000 tomorrow that I'm going to have to unload.
Sit down and listen. By the way, you've already heard several times, I was born and raised in Colombia, South America. I was told about a Canadian tourist that went to Colombia and got into a taxi cab, and the Canadian tourist said to the Colombian taxi driver, why is it that you people here in Colombia, when somebody asks you a question and you want to say yes, you say uh-huh, and when you want to say no, you said uh-uh. And the taxi driver said, Now, is that communication? So when your wife asks you a question and you just go, uh-huh, that frustrates her, because she wants to hear actual words, not grunts. So talk to your wife, answer her questions, try to verbalize your feelings. That will meet her needs.
Okay, now we're going to switch, right,
yes,
honey?
We're going to go.
And so we're going to talk to you ladies about what your husbands need.
And we see that the number one emotional need for most men is sexual fulfillment. Yes, I know you ladies are going, oh no. Okay. Well, it seems that God built into us men that sexual need, not as a physical need, but as an emotional need. We already said that women tend to connect at the emotional level through communication. We men connect at the emotional level through sex with our wives, obviously. So when you tell your husband, I don't want to have sex with you, what you are saying to them is, I don't love you. That's what we understand. I don't love you. See how serious it is? By the way, let me answer a question that very often we're asked. You know, we have a bucket there for people to put questions. Mm-hmm. Before you put this question, I will answer it for you. Is it okay to have sex on the Sabbath?
We get that question everywhere we go.
We get that question very often, and so I'm going to answer it before you ask the question. What was the first commandment from God ever given to humanity? Be fruitful and multiply. Who did he give that to? Adam and Eve. When did he give that command to Adam and Eve? On the sixth day of the week. And I don't read anywhere in the Bible where God says to Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply, but wait until after Sabbath. He didn't, right? In fact, for the Jewish people, to have sex on the Sabbath is not an option, it's an obligation. Just for that, I almost became Jewish. I'm just confessing. For us, men, sex is not simply an act, it's the way that we connect with our spouse at the emotional level. Now, I know, ladies, there are times during the month when your body needs to make some changes. We know what happens during the month when the menstrual period takes place. I praise God for menopause, for instance. So we know those things happen. In fact, there's a Jewish rabbi by the name of Shmuley Butik who wrote a book called Kosher Sex, by the way. It's a great book. And he says that maybe the law says that you should not have sex with a woman during the menstrual period. And he says it's possible that God gave that instruction to create that arousal in the husband so that he will wait with anticipation for the menstrual period to be over to again have sex with his wife. It's that important emotionally to your husband. So please don't tell your husband all the time you have a headache. Unless you have a headache, obviously. Reminds me of the man that came home with a big bottle like this and gave it to his wife, and she says, "What's that?" And he says, "It's aspirin." And she says, "Aspirin? I don't have a headache." And he said, "Oh, good." So don't complain that way. It just doesn't encourage your husband emotionally. Oh, I'm going to skip some of this thing. There you go.
Number 2, a man needs admiration and respect. Isn't it interesting? Remember the words of the Bible? Wives, respect your husbands. We just talked about the declaration to husbands, love your wives, but wives, respect your husbands. And here we have it showing up in research as one of the top needs, that a husband needs to know that we respect them. You know, others may complain, others may criticize. Maybe we've had a bad day at work, or maybe they've been fighting traffic all the time, but they need to know that their number one cheerleader is waiting for them at home. They need to know that you think they're special, that you admire them, that you appreciate them, and that you respect them.
Which is, in fact, another word that we use besides admiration and respect is appreciation. When you ask your husband to put that picture on the wall and he puts it up and you say, "Thank you," that tells him that you appreciate him, that you admire him, that you respect him. When you come home, ladies, and you notice that he mowed the lawn, and you say, "Boy, the yard looks good," you're saying to him, "You are cool, you're great, you're my man." If you ignore him, he'll be thinking, "Well, why do I have to do all these things if I don't have any appreciation shown toward me?" And some of you ladies might be saying, "Well, that's his obligation to do." No, we do it because we love you. We just want you to notice that we do it. Now, it doesn't mean that when I come home, my wife has to throw herself at my feet and say, "The Lord and Master of the household has come back to his kingdom." Although I wouldn't mind if she did it, you understand. But that's not what I'm saying you have to do. Just simply express appreciation for what your husband does, for how hard he works to provide for your home, the time that he spends with the kids, when he paints the walls or cleans the garage or whatever. And by the way, someone sent me a picture. I should have put it there. Don't nag your husband. The picture said, "Ladies, Don't nag your husband. He will get it done. Whatever it is that you want him to do, he will get it done. It may take 6 years, but he will get it done. Just don't nag him. No, it just doesn't work. It doesn't help. Now, what happens when you don't admire, appreciate, show respect for your husband enough? We read this text in Proverbs, and it was really shocking. For the lips of a strange woman drop as in honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. If you don't show him that appreciation, somebody else might. Remember, we have an account, or we have a lot of accounts in our bank. So what if some other woman begins to tell your husband, hey, you look nice, oh, you're so smart, etc. They may be innocent comments, but they're making constant deposits in his bank. Now, ladies, if your husband has an affair, I am not blaming that on you. It's his fault. He made the decision. What I'm saying is that we may be making it easier sometimes when we don't make those deposits often enough. Does that make sense? But some men forget the second part of the verse. Let me just go back. For the lips of a strange woman drop as in honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. You guys think that woman makes you feel so good, you might be better off leaving your wife and marrying somebody else? I can't tell you how men have destroyed their marriage, have destroyed their family, only to later say, I wish I hadn't done it. I was a lot better off when I was with my wife. Think about it very carefully before taking a step like that. At the same time, Proverbs says, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in the power of your hand to do so.
In fact, when it comes to this one, when it comes to showing appreciation, I want you to just think in your mind about last week. Because you see, so often, without even thinking about it, we show appreciation to the person at the grocery store who bags our groceries. We say thank you. Or we say thank you to the cashier. Or the person who may put gas in your car. Or even to the postman who brings a package to your house. You may say thank you when you open the door to get the package. Or even if you bump into someone in the store, we're walking through the store and bump into someone accidentally. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I didn't mean to. Forgive me.
Especially here in Canada, where they're a lot more polite than in the rest of the world.
But what happens if you're walking in your living room and you bump in? What's wrong with you? Can't you watch where you're going? You're such a klutz. Isn't that true? You see,
here in Canada, I'm telling you, they're more polite here.
But very often we are friendlier to a stranger, somebody we don't even know their name, or we're more apt to say thank you to a stranger than we are to the person within our own home.
John Gray wrote that book many years ago, Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus. And one of the things that he says in that book is that men need to go into a cave when they come home. They have been working all day, battling with the supervisor and the project and the money and all those things. And when they get home, the last thing that they want to hear is their wife with a list of to-do or complaints. They need to have a little cave to disconnect from the world before they reconnect with their family. So I'm telling you, ladies, give your husbands that little space, that little time, that little cave to go into. Don't wait for your husband at the door with the list and all the complaints. To you guys, I say, go to your cave, but don't stay there. Take a few minutes, however long that is, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Take a shower, sit down and read the newspaper, whatever it is that you need to do to disconnect from the world, but then rejoin the family. Your family needs you. Your children need you. Your wife needs you. If you want her to provide a peaceful home, it will be a lot easier if you cooperate with her.
So number 3, the peaceful home. I don't think we finished talking about that one. The closest we'll get to heaven on this earth should be in our homes. That should be our safe haven. When we go in the home and close the door, it should be locking the worldliness out, locking the noise out, the busyness, and just coming home to a peaceful environment. And so, ladies, most men really need this. They need their homes to retreat to cave, like you just talked about, honey, to come to. So we need to do everything we can to make sure that at the end of the day, when our husbands walk through that door, that the words that describe that feeling is peaceful, security, a calming presence, loving presence, that those are words that they would use to describe that.
Number 4, most important emotional need for most men, a man needs a wife who cares about herself. One of the things that God built into us men when we were first created, through Adam obviously, is that most of us men are visual, and we therefore are attracted to the female beauty. Most of us men are first attracted to a woman by her looks. The first time I saw Pam, I had no idea who she was, what kind of family she came from, whether she was smart or not, whether she had a good family or not. None of those things ever crossed my mind. I just saw this good-looking girl with golden hair flowing down her back, beautiful green eyes, and a killer smile, and I said, she's got to be my wife. Well, it took me 3 years to make that decision, but the first time I saw her, I liked her physically. That's what attracted me to her. If I didn't like her physically, we probably wouldn't be here. But that's what normally attracts us men first. I have never met a young man who watches a young lady come by and says to himself, boy, that girl is ugly. I would love to marry her. Doesn't happen that way. It's the opposite. Boy, that girl is good looking. I want to get to know her. Who knows? Maybe one day we can be married. The first thing that attracts us is the physical appearance. In fact, it even happened to Adam and Eve. Remember, when God brought Eve after performing that surgery on Adam, he brought Eve to Adam, and Adam didn't think, I wonder if she can cook. I wonder if she's smart. I wonder if anything. He just looked at her and burst in the first poem in humanity. She is flesh of my flesh and bones of my bones. He couldn't contain his excitement because that's how good looking she was. Later, he found that she had other virtues, and in fact, that she could be a good mother. I mean, she probably had countless children. She kept producing them, and he kept enjoying producing them as well. Whatever he learned about Eve later is one thing, but what he first saw was how good looking she was. So what we're saying to you ladies is, your husband likes you the way you look. Take care of yourself. You don't have to look 18 for the rest of your life.
What are you saying? I don't look 18, honey?
17, baby,
okay.
17.
I'm just, because you're digging a hole there, so.
Yeah, no holes in here, But you can take care of yourself. In fact, one of the things that I have always appreciated about Pam is that she always looks well. I've never seen her in some torn jeans or dirty old clothes. She always looks well, but she never spends a lot of money doing it. I don't know about Canada. In the U.S., they have a lot of secondhand stores. Do you have those here in Canada too?
Yes, because I'll tell you why, honey. I just saw one beside the hotel where we're staying.
It's too bad we're busy presenting here, isn't it? Well, Pam goes to those secondhand stores and has found some incredible bargains. I remember the day she came home and she says, look, you like this dress? And I said, yeah, nice. And she gave me the name of some designer. I'm not into designers, so I don't know. She said, I don't know, Ford, Toyota, something like that. I don't know exactly what it was.
No, you're definitely not into those designer names, are you?
And she said, $750. When I came to, she said, no, but I didn't pay $750. I paid $3. $3 for a $750 designer dress. In fact, then she said, look, I even bought a pair of matching shoes. And again, she gave me some other designer name. I don't know, Tim Hortons or something, but I don't know what it was. She said, $250, but I'll pay $2 for it. So for $5, she bought herself a $1,000 outfit. I took my wallet out. I gave her $20. I said, buy you 4 more, honey. Just buy you 4 more. I'm very generous. Just spend it all. I don't care. But she looks good, and she knows I like the way she looks. So she takes care of herself. Always make sure that her clothes match, her hair is well done, etc., etc. That's all. And that's what matters to me, that I'm proud to be seen with a good-looking girl.
Number 5, a man needs a wife who will be his playmate. And by that we mean we need to spend time together as husband and wife, really reconnecting and getting to know each other. Too many of us never spend time alone anymore. We never spend time doing things that are fun. Life is all about working, career, taking care of the kids, running here and there to that doctor's appointment, to this doctor's appointment, that we find ourselves all too quickly in a situation where, when is the last time that you took just to spend together talking? No television, no computer, no phone out, just talking to each other. In fact, if you go to any restaurant, the next time that you go to a restaurant, just sit and look at the families around you. Every one of them is on some technology device. They're looking down at their phones. The kids are playing on their iPads. And we have even lost the opportunity to talk around the dinner table anymore. So that's really what this one is all about. If you want your marriage to grow, if you want to grow as a couple, if you want your love to grow for each other, the only way you can do that is spending quality time alone, talking to each other.
Spending time together. Some time ago, we said, hey, let's see what kinds of things we enjoy doing together besides the ones that we normally do. So we took an online inventory of interest, an interest inventory. She took it by herself, I took it by myself, and then when we compared the results, we found out, among other things, I said anyways, I would love to go snorkeling one day. I'd never done that before. And she on her own said, I'd like to go snorkeling. I said, hey. So one time when we were down in Florida, we went into the Bahamas and actually went snorkeling. And actually, I'll tell you how it happened. We were living in New Jersey at that time, and we got a timeshare offer. Have you ever been to those things? Yes. I hate them. I hate those presentations, but it was cheap. They said, we'll give you 3 nights in Palm Beach, 2 nights in the Bahamas, cruise to the Bahamas, and 3 nights in Orlando for $500. That's dirt cheap. We had never been on a cruise. So we said, let's do it. So we went to Palm Beach and had to listen to their timeshare presentation. And we said, no thanks, about 20 times until they finally said, these people are too cheap to buy anything. And then they gave us a ticket to the cruise, so we drove from Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale. And when we got to Fort Lauderdale, we saw the biggest cruise ship we had ever seen in our life. I mean, it looked like it was like 4 blocks long. That wasn't our ship. Our ship was hiding behind that one, and it was only about a block long. It had paddles at the door for you to actually use them. The swimming pool, I'm not kidding, the swimming pool was about 1/3 of the size of this platform. The people taking the tickets at the door were also the waiter and waitresses. They were the entertainers. They did everything. But what's good about that cruise was that we went into the Bahamas and went snorkeling, which is what we wanted to do together. And so we have discovered things that we enjoy doing together. We love going to museums. We love going to historical places. One of my favorite places in the whole world is the library in the Parliament Library in Ottawa. Have you ever been there? You haven't been? Canadians, you need to go there. It's one of the most beautiful buildings in the entire world, and I'm not exaggerating. Those are the kinds of things that we enjoy doing together, going to historical places, famous places. And Pugwash, have you ever been to Nova Scotia to Pugwash where they have their camp meeting?
That's a church camp there, Pugwash.
Not far from Pugwash, there's the place that is known in the entire world because nuclear scientists got there together to see how they would put an end to the nuclear proliferation. Did you know that? It's in Canada, guys. Need to go there. So if you know of any place here in Saskatchewan that you want us to see because it's special, we're taking your suggestions. That's what we enjoy doing, visiting together, exploring together. So find what you enjoy doing together. It may not be the hockey game. It may not be football. It may not be sports. Find something you enjoy doing together because that's what will make it special. Not because it's a sport or whatever it is. It's just that you do it together. We men enjoy spending time with our wives in those special activities. So what we would like you to do is to look at this list of 10. We mentioned in general terms what's special emotionally for women and what's important emotionally for men. But what we need you to do is to look at all 10 and decide for yourself which 5 are important to you. So if, for instance, one of you men might say, well, conversation is important to me. Does that mean I'm a woman? No, that means conversation is important to you. And when you make up that list of 5 and your spouse makes up that list of 5, what we encourage is to sit together and exchange the list. You don't say to your spouse, here's my list, you have to meet my needs, but rather, give me your list, I want to meet them because I love you. That's the point of understanding each other's emotional
And that was
needs.
the verse we started with today, honey. Outdo one another in showing love. So it's not a matter at the end of this presentation for me to say, did you listen to what they said today? See, I hope you listen because you need to do a better job of meeting my needs.
Yeah.
But it's for me to say, I listened today, and this is what I'm taking away from it, and this is what I'm going to change to better meet your needs.
Okay. Remember, if you have questions, you can put them there in that bucket back there. If you want to put offerings in there, we'll take those too, but at least put the questions, and then tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we will do our best to answer the questions
And
that
I
you may
think
put
tomorrow
in
we're
the
going to
bucket.
be talking to parents.
Yeah,
right?
among other things.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tomorrow is how to meet the needs of children.
Why don't we stand and have prayer so that you can go on and have lunch?
Let's pray. Dear Father, we thank you for the opportunity to meet together today and to look at how you've made us different, men and women, but how we can outdo one another in showing honor and showing love and respect to each other. I ask that you come in and be the center of every home that's represented here in this auditorium today, that you be with the husbands and the wives, that you be with those who are single, that you be with the children, and help each of us, Lord, to reflect you in a better way to our neighbors. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Circle of Hope Network, doing life and being church together.